Enola Holmes is officially back, but this time, she is trading the gloomy, foggy streets of London for the bright Mediterranean sun, literally ditching her own wedding and hunting down a kidnapped Sherlock Holmes. Welcome, everyone. Now, do not click away because I promise you, this is not just another piece of AI slop. This is a deeply informative, educational, and honestly pretty entertaining explainer where we are investigating the massive changes and heavily polarized reviews of this highly anticipated third chapter. If you're ready to solve the case with us, go ahead and hit that like button right now.
So, here's the agenda for today's case file. We're looking at a wedding in Malta, the book versus movie changes, exploring the darker, mature themes, the massive critical divide, and finally, the final verdict.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, a wedding in Malta, sun, sand, and a missing sibling.
You know, it's wild how fast the narrative completely abandons a traditional romance for a ticking clock rescue mission. The film literally opens on Enola and Lord Tewkesbury's wedding day. Tewkesbury's waiting nervously at the altar, but Enola? Well, she's dealing with some massive cold feet. But before she even gets the chance to figure out her next move, Dr. Watson, played brilliantly by Himesh Patel, shows up with some absolutely shocking news. Henry Cavill's Sherlock Holmes has been kidnapped. Just like that, Enola has to pick up a shotgun, team up with Watson and her fiercely headstrong mother Eudora, and go find him.
And this quote right here, it brilliantly illustrates the core dynamic of the entire movie. As Enola says, a Holmes does not disappear without leaving clues for a Holmes. She really has to rely on her big brother's teachings and his super cryptic notebooks to track him down across Europe. It creates this fantastic sense of suspense, right? It forces Enola to trust her own instincts, basically proving she's grown from this wide-eyed teenager into Sherlock's true intellectual equal. Moving right along to Section 2, book versus movie changes, adapting the case of the bizarre bouquets. Okay. It is honestly fascinating to see how Netflix transformed the third book, which is called The Case of the Bizarre Bouquets. If you look on the left, in Nancy Ringer's original novel, Enola survives by remaining completely invisible. She adopts this fictional identity, Ivy Meshley, and quietly solves a very grounded mystery hidden among flowers. And there's almost zero romance. But over on the right, the Netflix movie gives us a confident, globally known detective strutting directly into high society. The romance is literally the emotional backbone, and the plot is an explosive, globe-trotting kidnapping caper. Actually, before we go any further, I really want to hear from you. Do you prefer the quiet, puzzle-solving detective from the books, or this action hero Enola from the movies? Drop a comment below and let me know.
The filmmakers, including the new director Philip Barantini and writer Jack Thorne, made a very deliberate choice here. They decided to make Enola's transition into adulthood, and of course her impending marriage, the true emotional core of the whole story. So they essentially swapped out the book's intense focus on solitary independence for a much deeper look at how a fiercely strong woman navigates love and partnership.
Which brings us to Section 3, exploring darker, mature themes, growing up in the Victorian era.
By placing the wedding in this very specific location, the film immediately grounds itself in the very real and very painful legacy of the British Empire. This isn't just some picturesque vacation spot for our characters. The overarching reach of the empire is a heavy, present reality for everyone living in the 1880s. And these historical elements are exactly why critics are calling this the absolute darkest entry yet. The narrative actually weaves in intense political conspiracies, wartime crimes, and the Anglo-Afghan wars through Dr. Watson's family past. It even introduces local Maltese freedom fighters who are actively pushing back against British rule. The film uses all of this historical weight to force Enola to confront her own wealthy British privilege, all while dealing with the intense societal pressure of marriage as a Victorian woman.
It's a lot to juggle.
Now, check out this clever linguistic detail that gets right to the heart of Enola's internal struggle. Her name is essentially Alone, spelled backward. She is absolutely terrified that taking a husband's last name is going to rob her of her hard-earned identity as a Holmes. I mean, she spent her entire life fighting to not be alone, sure, but she's also fought so hard to be recognized as an equal to Sherlock. So for her, giving up her name feels literally like giving up her autonomy.
All right, let's look at Section 4, the critical divide, a polarizing investigation. This scorecard perfectly maps out the totally split consensus. It proves that for every single reviewer who loved the franchise's evolution, there was another who felt the series had completely lost its spark. Look at this. You've got Tom's Guide giving it a fiercely brilliant 4 out of 5 stars, while The Guardian essentially hands it a failing grade of 40 out of 100. Talk about a wildly split room.
Hey, by the way, if you're enjoying this visual breakdown, make sure to share this explainer with a fellow mystery fan so they can weigh the evidence too. So, reviewers on the positive side of things consistently praised Millie Bobby Brown's maturing performance. They loved her undeniable chemistry with Louis Partridge as Tewksbury, and they really appreciated the deeper emotional stakes. Critics who enjoyed the film felt it successfully aged up right alongside its core audience, finally allowing the characters to grapple with genuine, complex adult dilemmas.
But on the flip side, the negative reviews really hammered the film for having a convoluted plot and an overstuffed screenplay that kind of discombobulated the whole mystery. Some reviewers called out a nauseatingly fast editing style. And get this, others even spotted jarring continuity errors like modern acrylic nails visibly popping up on the actors' hands in wide shots. For a lot of critics, that completely broke the illusion of a Victorian period drama.
As an impartial observer, just looking at the source material, I've got to point out this stark contrast. While some folks found the political themes and the exploration of womanhood deeply relatable and resounding, others were just way too distracted by those sloppy continuity errors, repetitive character arcs, and a central mystery that felt, well, incredibly easy to predict. It seems like the film's ambitious attempt to juggle romance, dark history, and a high-stakes kidnapping was just a bit too much for some critics to swallow.
And finally, Section 5, the final verdict. Is the game still afoot?
Ultimately, while the central mystery itself might be a bit elementary, the film serves as a massive stepping stone for Enola's journey into true adulthood. It completely leaves that quiet book narrative behind in favor of a loud, globe-trotting spectacle that tackles some massive real-world themes. And the result? It is hands down one of the most polarizing Netflix blockbusters of the entire year. So, based on all the evidence we have just reviewed together, the choice is entirely yours. Let me know if you plan to RSVP to Netflix's most debated wedding of the year. And to ensure you never miss out on another deep dive, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. The game is always afoot, and we'll see you on the next explainer.